pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Please let the record reflect that all school board members are present this evening. And we are happy to be at the Edgewood Junior High School's multi-purpose room. This is a new construction project that has just been completed to help upgrade the junior high. And this multi-purpose space is a wonderful place to, it's truly multi-purpose. You can have classrooms in here. You can have multiple classrooms working on a project together. You can have presentations. You can have show choir, band practices and performances. You can have, we have 2 makerspace labs over here as well that are top-notch designs. So this is a wonderful space to be in, and I appreciated Dr. Sanders having the idea to have a meeting here to showcase this. So welcome. This is the June 2021 regular school board meeting. And so are there any visitors today who would like to make comments? We have one do it? Okay. I ask that you come to the microphone and tell us your name and what you would like for us to know.
Hi, I'm Savannah Sigmund. I have a dress code for you all that we created, and so can I hand this to you guys?
Sure.
Okay. As I said, my name is Savannah Sigmund. I'm a recent graduate of the class of 2021 here at Edgewood High School. This past spring, I was asked as Student Council President to form a small committee of students to review and make changes to the dress code. The committee started off with 15 members consisting of students of different genders, backgrounds, and ages. I wanted this committee to be diverse to ensure that we were getting an accurate representation of the student body. Before I knew it, the word of the committee was spreading, and I had many students wanting to help out. As one could expect, there were many different ideas and opinions about the dress code. But one thing that I heard in almost every single student's response was that they wanted the dress code to be fair, and most importantly, they wanted all students to be comfortable. Unanimously, the committee decided to make that common theme our main focus. There were many discussions and meetings, and I wish that I could tell you everything that was shared. But I realize I'm limited on time, so I'm going to focus on our biggest changes to the dress code. The committee decided that it is necessary to change the guidelines for shorts. We discovered that many female students were put at an inconvenience because of the mid-thigh length requirement. With the current fashion trends, many stores do not carry shorts for women that are mid-length. Not to mention, shorts that are mid-length are not considered fashionable, and wearing them may make some female students feel insecure, leaving some students feeling as though the only option for them is to wear jeans, which can be very uncomfortable on hot days. However, the committee realizes that it is hard to create a measurable guideline for students. We've progressed from fingertip length, which varied on every student, to mid-thigh, but in reality, mid-thigh length hasn't been much better. I have given to you all a mock-up of our dress code, and I realize that our guidelines for shorts may not be perfect, but I hope that you consider our changes. And then there are some changes to hats. I know that that's something that I heard a lot was students wanted to wear hats, but I know it's a big security concern. So we changed that to brimless, or like they don't have bills or anything, so that you could see the students' faces. And I know we also changed to, there was one part that mentioned armpits weren't allowed, so we changed that wording to it must require most of the torso. And I know the mock-up isn't perfect, but we hope that you would consider some of the changes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
going through it. Sounds like a lot of effort went into this and a lot of time, and we appreciate it, and congratulations on your graduation.
Savannah, thank you very much for presenting, and I'll definitely make sure that this is taken under careful advisement.
Thank you.
There being no further visitor comments, we'll move into the consent agenda. We have approval of minutes for May 17th of 2021. We have the treasurer's report for May of 2021. We have our claims. Mr. Durnall, could you read those for us?
Thank you, Mr. President. I propose approval of gross wages mini payroll of 5/6 of 21 for $1,992.08, for gross wages on 5/7 of 2021 for $624,200.19, for gross wages on 5/21/2021 for $634,952.75, for claims prepaid on May the 1st through May 31st of 2021 for $843,319.30. I'm sorry, let me do that again. For pre-claims prepays for 5/1 through 5/31/21 for $843,319.30. For claims on regular vouchers for 6/21, $295,134.08. For forced claims vouchers 6/22/2021, $14,770.95. For a grand total $2,405,369.35.
Thank you, Mr. Durnall. We also have a number of donations. So is exciting part, and these are definitely some exciting donations. There is $150 from the Ellisville Tri Kappa to the Edgewood Theater Arts Mass Crafters. And we had a lot of donations from Tri Kappa a month or two ago. Also, the Nuava Seminole espresso machine and a bun coffee maker are being donated by Mary Beth Gallagher for the Edgewood High School student-run coffee shop. Hand sanitizer from the Circle K of Ellettsville to the Edgewood Junior High School. The senior class panoramic framed picture from Kirkwood Photo to Edgewood High School. Those are awesome. I love seeing those every year. And also there is $5,500 from the Hoosier Hills Credit Union for audio podcast equipment for the Innovative Learning Center and a refrigerator for the Edgewood High School Ready Schools coffee shop. So we appreciate all those wonderful donations. We also have personnel, resignations, retirements, non-renewals, leaves, and terminations, 1 through 7, and appointments and transfers, 1 through, and I'm glad this isn't in Roman numerals anymore, 115. So do we have a motion?
I move approval of the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. And Dr. Sanders, would you like to make a announcement?
I'd like to highlight about 3 aspects of the consent agenda. First of all, I want to, we appreciate all of our donations, but I wanted to specifically highlight the donation of $5,500 from the Hoosier Hills Credit Union. We have met a number of times with Hoosier Hill representatives. Russ Wilkie is Executive Vice President, and he is also one of our parents. And we met with him and his team probably 3 or 4 times to introduce them to the Ready Schools initiative. And each time they became more and more interested in wanting to be a partner with our Ready Schools initiative. So I really appreciate the donation from Hoosier Hills Credit Union. And also you might would like to explain why we have so many appointments. We are transitioning to a new appointment sheet. They're carryover appointment sheets for certain positions that the person would just be renewed every year. And rather than just going through that process every year, they will be on a carryover appointment sheet until the time that they resign or other action is taken. That's why we have so many. We're just doing it all at once. And then last, I'd like to introduce our new assistant principal at Edgewood High School. Alicia Dirk has served as a teacher and a media center specialist. She is working on her PhD at Indiana State University. Over this last semester, Mrs. Dirk has been working on an internship. And so I've had the pleasure of meeting with her almost every Friday. I'll admit there's some Fridays where my schedule wouldn't allow that, but we met every Friday to talk about leadership, and she is just an open book trying to learn as much as she can about leadership and being an administrator. So welcome to the administrative team, Mrs. Dirk.
Now we'll have our business manager's report, Mr. Irwin.
You guys should have the cash flows there in front of you. So just kind of run through them here real quick. The education fund, again, is staying right where we've expected it to be. We didn't expect to make big cash balance gains this year, and that's continued to be the case. May's numbers were very accurate, and the projections have been updated to reflect the most recent Form 54, which is what we look at every month, where the DOE and the Department of Finance updates our tuition support payments. But again, our year-end projections continue to hover around that starting mark that we had this year. In debt service, during the month of May, we actually received about 97% of the interest that we paid on the tax anticipation warrant from last year. Indiana Bond Bank was able to refund those dollars to us based on some stimulus, the way that they received their stimulus dollars from COVID. So it was just about a little over 12 grand. And so they were able to get that to us pretty quickly once they had notified us of it. Other than that, there was no other receipts or disbursements in the debt service fund. Operations, again, numbers are very close. Our projections have stayed very true, kind of where we've had them. We did end up receiving a little bit of FEMA money as well, so that was nice to see. That was a lengthy process that we had went through to get that reimbursement. We submitted a little over $112,000 worth of reimbursement. They approved just over $19,000 of it. So that it was about 15% of what we had asked for, but nonetheless, we're very appreciative to have actually received it. Not all school corporations have received it yet, so that was definitely a good thing for us. And then we also got one of our safety grant reimbursements, so you'll notice that the receipts in the operations fund were a little higher this month than what they typically are. We also updated what we think our June disbursement will be with taxes from the Form 22, which is what we get from the auditor's office about what we expect our two settlements to be, and this one being the June one for our local property taxes. And so with all of that said, we expect the operations fund to be in a very comfortable range of which we've kind of said we want it to be, and it's nearing kind of that about 1.3 million at the end of the year, which is definitely a good thing for us. So with that, I'll take any questions that you guys have on that.
For Mr. Irwin. Hearing none, we'll move on, and for the budget calendar for 2022.
Yeah, crazy to think we're already here at this time. And I'm doing this a little bit earlier. Last year, I brought it to you guys in July. This year, I'm going to bring it to you obviously now. But we didn't have a work session prior to advertising last year. We'll kind of leave that open-ended, kind of up to the point we can continue those conversations here over the next few weeks if you guys want to do a work session or if you feel like there's a need to for this budget year. I'll also let you know the same as we're moving through the budget process if we feel like there's a definite need for that. But I just kind of laid out kind of that timeline so you know what to expect of when we advertise, when we will adopt and all that stuff, and when we have to post a gateway. And so it's just kind of that informal process, say, hey, here's what this timeline is going to be this year, and we'll go from there. So you guys have any questions about that?
As far as the work session is concerned, I mean, little questions, trivial things that come up as we go along. I presume we can just ask them in this kind of a forum, but
Yeah.
if that work session would be a longer
Yeah, if
more
we
involved.
really needed to dive into it as far as, I'll try to do a really good job of updating you of kind of legislatively of some of the changes that we've seen or the influx of dollars due to the legislative session. Obviously, a lot of that's dependent on our student count come back in the fall, but obviously when we create the budget, we have to use the best estimates that we have at that time. So we'll continue to do that, and just like through the process last year, we'll have ample time to have conversations about it, about kind of where we stand or where we think things are going to be. Yeah.
Are we on? Do you have an idea, Mr. Irwin, where we were at with student count at the end of the year compared to the year before?
So our student count this past February was 2560, and we started the year at 2606. The year prior, we had started the year at 2663, and so kind of part of the course for a lot of school corporations this past year with COVID, our student enrollment did take a dip, but we expect it to be back over 2600. Especially with our graduating class, was by far our smallest class this year at about 140 students, and our kindergarten classes have been sizing up around 200 kids. So we do expect that number to be back over 2,600, but it was down this year, but that was the case for almost all public school corporations in the state of Indiana.
That equated to about 600,000. Does that sound about right? About 600,000.
Yeah, so it was right around that number. And part of that count was down halfway through. So that number for that first 6 months is dependent on your first ADM count in September. The last 6 months of tuition support payments is based on your February number. So you're receiving 1/2 and 1/2. So it was probably a little bit less than the 600,000, but it was pretty close.
So the virtual students this coming year that we're going to have, are they going to be at 90% refund?
The virtual students?
Yeah, how are we gonna
Virtual
do-
students go back to 85% funding.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Irwin. Next, we have consideration to approve the renewal of the Indiana University Athletic Training Contract. Dr. Sanders.
Yes, our athletic program depends heavily on our partnership with Indiana University to provide Edgewood athletes with quality athletic training and proactive support to our coaches. The agreement you are being asked to approve tonight is an annual renewal of that partnership, so I recommend your approval.
I move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments?
Are there any significant changes from last year's?
No change.
That's right. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have consideration to approve an agreement with Solution Tree. Dr. Sanders.
Yes, I am more excited than ever about the future of RBB and our Edgewood schools. We have a dedicated and professional staff. We have made significant improvements to our finances with an A- credit rating. Construction projects are upgrading our facilities and campus to create an innovative learning environment. We have put into place a mental health team that is making a positive difference in the lives of our students and staff. We are becoming a premier school corporation with our implementation of STEAM, project-based learning, PLTW, and Ready Schools. So the stage is set to link these assets more closely and to deepen student learning and to accelerate student achievement. I believe the best way to tie our different initiatives together is to address our curricular needs and to improve student achievement is by implementing professional learning communities with fidelity. The key to successfully implementing professional learning communities is strong leadership at the corporation level and within each school. As you know, as a board, we are addressing the corporation-wide PLC leadership with our training that we're going to have tonight during tonight's work session. To address the school-wide PLC leadership, we would like to work with Solution Tree to provide a 2-day training session for the leadership teams from each of our schools. The leadership teams are made up of representative teachers and principals in each building. The school-wide PLC training will be conducted on August 2nd and 3rd. The presenter is the same person who's Zooming in with us tonight, Mike Hagedon, and he will be providing that training for the board. The fee for a solution tree will be paid out of Title II and ESSER III funds. Now, this agreement is only for August 2nd and 3rd. We will be working with Solution Tree throughout the whole process. So we will have, on October 1st, we'll be having a training session for all of our teachers. And then Solution Tree will also be providing coaching opportunities throughout the year. So we'll be coming back to you with some additional agreements for you to approve down the road. We have a unique opportunity to pay for these training sessions through our Title II and ESSER III funds that normally we would not have at this point. We receive about $75,000 to $78,000 a year from Title II for professional development opportunities, but due to COVID, we haven't had very much professional development. So we have really a lot of our Title II funds still available that we have to expend by a certain date. And so this will be a great way for us to use those funds. And Matt and I, when we've talked about how to use our ESSER III funds, we wanted to make sure that we set aside money to be able to impact our school corporation long term. And I truly believe partnering with Solution Tree in implementing professional learning communities with Fidelity, I keep saying that because it's so important to do it right. We think this is a great opportunity for the school corporation, and I would recommend your approval. And on a final note, the agreement has been approved by Ferguson Law.
I will move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Did I hear a second?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions, comments?
We have had some process of PLCs for
Right.
a number of years. Could you kind of sketch out maybe some of the things that might be different or that might allow us to benefit more strongly from this?
Yeah, this is why I keep saying with Fidelity, because I think earlier initiatives really didn't get to that point where it became part of our culture. And so we want to embed professional learning communities into everything that we do at RBB so that as people come and go, PLCs will continue, that it's just part of who we are. And so we want to go back and do this in a way that we're building the leadership from the board, from the superintendent's office, having a strong representatives in our buildings, and being able to, as we move forward, use it to tie everything together. And maybe that wasn't done the first time, and I'm not trying to be critical of what happened in the past, but we have several initiatives that are going on in the school corporation that I've just mentioned, specifically Ready Schools. And there's a lot of other work that I think we need to do curriculum-wise in terms of horizontal and vertical alignment of our curriculum, diving deeper into our assessments and how to improve assessments. And we want, because we have so many initiatives going on, we don't want the teachers to feel like they have one more thing to do. So, for example, when we do some work on curriculum, instead of the teachers kind of feeling like, oh, another thing's been added to my plate, it'll just be part of the professional learning communities initiative that will tie all that together. Does that help?
It does. And I don't want to come across as negative in any way. Having been through the process at a certain level and having been, I think, fairly intricately involved in it,
Right.
I think you hit some of the important things, that it's not just one more thing, that it does actually help to organize and coordinate the efforts and the various initiatives that we have. And I'm also certainly willing to hear what our trainer and what they have to say and what we're going to be doing. And I want to be supportive, but I don't want to see it turn into yet another initiative and more on the teachers' plates, because I know how that it has seemed in the past. So I'll be watching it closely, I guess.
And that was initially one of my concerns, because we seem like we do ask more and more of our teachers every day. And just through researching this and diving deeper into it myself, I went from having a concern about having one more thing for teachers to do to coming to an understanding that this actually addresses that issue.
Well, I've always felt that the at least in the abstract, the idea is great. If we can pull it off and make it do what it has the promise of doing, then I think we will have done something really important and really good. Well, we'll just have to see how we do.
Any further questions or comments?
We couldn't hear him.
Yeah, can you hear me down there? Can you hear me, Mr. DeMoss? Okay. I want to just kind of follow up with Mr. DeMoss, and just make sure I understand what we're voting to do this evening. We're voting tonight on the initial 2-day contract, right? We're not, and if it doesn't, after those 2 days, it doesn't meet what we think, Dr. Sanders, we're not committed for a 2-year contract then.
This is just an agreement for the 2-day training session. I think it's important to make a commitment to Solution Tree. When I go back to using that word again, fidelity again, just doing it to the best of our ability, to doing it the right way. And I think we need that expert guidance that in the past maybe faded away, where we had that initial guidance for PLCs. That guidance kind of faded away maybe too soon. So we want to continue to work with them and work through the process, because they are the experts. They're the world-renowned experts in PLCs, to be honest with you, and they're located locally. So this is a great opportunity for us to move forward and do it the right way so it has the impact. If we don't do it the right way, then it won't have that impact that we want.
And we'll be able to evaluate the buy-in after the first 2 days from the staff and administrative staff and so forth. If everybody's on board, it's just got to continue on. That's my big concern, is not have a 2-day rah-rah workshop and then it stops. We need to make sure it continues on. But that's proof's in the pudding, I guess, at that point.
Hopefully you can see the plan, starting out with the board, then we're having principals and the leaders in each school to go through that training, because we've had some that have had some training in PLCs and some that have not. So this gets us all on the same page. And then like I said, October 1st, we'll have a whole day where all the teachers throughout the corporation will have some training on the PLCs. And then I think where some initiatives fail is you bring in a speaker or presenter, they present, and then that's it. And so we want to follow that up with the coaching so that we can help teachers who might be struggling with the concept, or somebody who needs some encouragement, or maybe some additional training for the superintendent to make sure that he's doing what he needs to do to provide the leadership.
I went to some PLC training many, many years ago in Phoenix, and it was very interesting. And I do understand that different buildings, different grade levels, and things like that, it's not something new. Many of our teachers are doing this. It's just maybe is not as much a concerted effort as it needs to be, or as prevalent across all of the grades necessarily. But I do often hear PLCs mentioned, and so that I do believe they're active and strong. I just don't, from what discussions with you, it's just not a concerted effort as it could be.
And that's part of it. The other part of it, what's happening now that wasn't happening several years ago, is all of our other initiatives with Ready Schools and project-based learning, that we need to find a way to tie that together for everybody. And this is one way that we're going to accomplish that. We've talked about that recently in terms of our different initiatives of making sure that everybody's on the same page of, how is this going to fit together, so we can have the greatest impact. And PLCs are going to be able to enable us to do that.
Well, the one thing we have done tonight already is that we have added an ace in the hole. Mrs. Dirk has some experience in this, and I don't want to put too much pressure on her, but I think she's going to be a tremendous resource in making it work better this time. So.
That's a really good point. That we have kind of our own inside track a little bit more because we have Mrs. Dirk on staff.
Anything further? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now, of course, if you're going to have a professional development meeting for a couple days, you got to have a place to do it, right, Dr. Sanders? So,
We won't do this with every training session related to our solution tree partnership or even with PLCs, but I thought it would be a good idea to kick it off in a great way, and that's to the leadership teams to go to the mill, to be able to have our own place there, get it off campus a little bit, to focus a little bit more. And so the contract is with the mill for the 2 days of training. The contract is for $512, and this will come out of our Title II money.
I'll second.
any questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have consideration to dispose of surplus technology equipment. Dr. Sanders?
Actually, Rick's going to talk about this.
Evening, everybody. Rick, Technology Director for the School Corporation. Sorry. So again, we bring into you a surplus of list of equipment that we want to get rid of. It's no longer any value to us. There is a couple pieces of equipment that we're going to try to do an auction with and see if we can get anything, just something new to try. But if it doesn't sell, then it will go into the waste recycling to a company that we already contract with. And so, but we just wanted to try something new a little bit. But anyhow, we're just coming to you again as usual with about a quarterly expenditure of electronics that have been collected around here, and we're just wanting to move them out and get them into the recycling program. So if you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them.
Have a motion?
I move approval.
Moved and seconded. Any questions? That seems to be pretty routine now.
It's going to be routine, so yes.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have consideration to approve the 2021-2022 student handbooks. Dr. Sanders?
Yes, so This particular year, we are not seeing any changes to the handbooks for the high school, the junior high school, and the intermediate school. The only change for the primary school is sharing with parents that the lunches and breakfasts for next school year are free. And so that's really a great thing to share. And then we have a number of changes for our early childhood center related to stating in the handbook that we are actually a level 3 preschool now. The other changes are related to class offerings, assessments, schedules, tuition, and also breakfast and lunch. The handbooks play a very important role as communication between our parents and students and the schools, and so it's very important for us to make sure that we are communicating that important information that students and parents need to know. These handbooks are on our website for anyone to review.
Entertain a motion?
I will move approval.
Any questions?
I'll second.
I do have a question. Was there a second? There was a second. Given the presentation we had from our student this evening, our graduate, is it premature to approve the high school?
No, I would recommend you go ahead and approve it and give us a chance to review what they presented. We could always come back maybe in July and make any possible revisions at that time.
Okay. That answers my question.
I just had one quick follow-up, Dr. Sanders. I know it was a great achievement, but help me understand again, going to level 3 at the preschool, what does that mean again?
Did you hear that? The level 3, can you?
Yes. Level 3 will, it really helps us to, it looks at how we deliver our services for the preschool. So really it improves our school corporation, improves our school, our preschool, and making sure that we're meeting the guidelines that would be able to achieve level 3. And so it just improves our offerings, and we are able to open up more to our parents.
Okay.
We have larger enrollment too, right?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have consideration to raise the adult breakfast and lunch prices. Mr. Irwin.
On this one, this had to do with just a minor change due to some of the things that were going on. He had mentioned the student prices, and Vicki had informed us that these are some of the things that are set forth as far as the minimum prices that we needed to have for our adult prices so that we could offer the free and reduced, the free meals to our students. And so it just reflects some of the compliance things that we need to have in order to be able to do that.
Do you have a motion?
I'll move approval.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? Looking through the paperwork, it seems like quite an ordeal to come up with the price. You have to take a lot of things into consideration. So thanks for the hard work on that.
That was all Vicki.
Oh, thank you, Vicki Coffey, for all that work. Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Now we have consideration to approve the Edgewood High School football team to Manchester, Indiana for football camp. Dr. Sanders?
Yes, would you like to combine the two, the band?
Yes. And yeah, we can combine this next one, which was consideration to approve the Edgewood High School band camp at St. Mary of the Woods College. So we'll take these two items together.
Yeah, these are annual requests from the football team and also the band, which enables them once again to get off-site and to it helps the coaches and the directors of the band to prepare for the season, the upcoming season, to start working. We have a new coach, and so it'll enable the new coach and the players to learn maybe any new aspects of the offense and defense, to come together as a team. The band, by going to this camp, they start working on their performance, their show for the upcoming season, so it gives them a jump start. The football team is going to Manchester University in North Manchester, Indiana, and that will be July 17th and 19th. And then the band will be going to St. Mary's of the Woods College, and that will be July 13th through the 16th. What's making this different this year is that both the band and the football team, we required them to have a set of COVID protocols. Last year they weren't able to participate in these events. This year we're allowing them to do that, but they had to submit a list of protocols to keep the students safe, and those protocols were approved by the Monroe County Health Department.
I will move approval for the football camp as well as the band camp.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. I appreciate the work that went in the COVID protocols, and also the facilities that they're going to also has their own protocols that they're going to be required as well. So it's kind of doubling up. So you have the most protective of the combination. So that's good to hear. Any questions or comments? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next is consideration to approve a security camera server and encoders for Edgewood High School, and our technology director, Rick Routon. Present on that.
Evening again. So we have a server for the consideration of the security camera and an encoder, two encoders for the high school. This is the start of our security camera initiative for all of our buildings, but we're going to start with the high school first. This will allow us to take existing cameras, put them into service, and then build on additional cameras for other areas of the school. So this is just to get us going and get away from a server that is not reliable on a daily basis, and then it will allow us to do the expansion that we've all been talking about for a couple of years now. With the server in place, that is the biggest expense of the initial project, and without that piece of equipment, I can't just go and buy a camera and, oh, it'll just sit there. I have to have a camera and that server to record to, and so this is why I'm asking for the server to become first, so we can at least get that in, get the license going, and have it configured, so when we purchase additional cameras down the road, they'll just be plug and play. So it will just be a simple, oh, we're going to put one here, plug it in, go to the server, configure it for whatever hallway it is, and we're recording immediately. So the server is the key act that we're needing first. This will be the same thing that we'll do at the other schools, but we're just trying to get this going initially first and make sure that we have everything set and prepared for all the future cameras. The system that we're looking at is modular, so I'm not tied to one type of camera, which is great. So that way we can have the different type of cameras that are out there to give us the best vision of hallways or outside or around a corner, something that we just didn't have with the previous system. We don't want to stay with just a very finite company and we can't make those judgment calls and say, we need that third camera to go down this hallway, and we can't because it's an off-brand. And so we want to make sure we have something modular that we can expand on and have the ability for not only us and our SROs, but if they're, please don't ever have this incident, but if we do have this incident, we will allow the officers of the town access to the system so they can see what's going on in our hallways. That will be something that is different than what we've had in the past. And again, that requires a server for us to configure for our Ellisville police officers to have access when there's an event. Hopefully there's never an event, but we want to make sure that we're prepared to give every avenue available to our students and our officers to give them the best advantage in case something would happen. Again, this is why the server is critical to our first part of the step going forward. Can I just roll the second one into this?
Sure.
Okay. It's the second is the student Chromebooks for the junior high. We have the incoming sixth graders, and what we have done last year is take the senior Chromebooks and roll them down to the sixth graders, but we're short because we have so many incoming sixth graders. So we need to purchase additional Chromebooks to accommodate for the additional students that are coming in. We're anticipating less than 100, but we're going to take 100 just in case we have that spur of the growth of families coming in, and we need to provide their student with a Chromebook in sixth grade. So we're asking for approval to purchase another 100 Chromebooks for the incoming junior high students, and that has been awarded, or hopefully you guys will approve, that we'll purchase those through Paragon Micro. And I'll back up, and the server is coming from Presidio, which is an Indianapolis company that is providing the server and the licenses for the software. All of these we've done, I did forget to put in my memo to you guys, and I'm sorry, is we did follow the protocol of 3 quotes. 2 came back, 1 did not apply. They just never replied to my request, but we did follow the protocol for the 3 quotes because it is over $10,000. And I'll be glad to answer any questions regarding 15 and 16.
Have a motion?
I move approval.
I'll second.
Second. Any questions, comments?
Are the funds for both of them coming out of the same place? Do we know?
No, they're not coming out of this thing.
The-
Am I correct, Matt?
Yeah, so most of it's gonna come from the GO bond, and then some of it will finish off the gear grant that we had gotten earlier in the year. There's a little bit of some funds that need to be finished off there, but most of it comes from the GO bond.
And you were talking about the access for the police officers. Is it not standard that the SROs have access to the cameras at this point?
The officers have access to the cameras while they're here inside the building. If there was an incident, we could actually extend it out to.
So it could come down to your office. Okay.
Correct. So
All
it
right.
gives them an advantage outside of here. Yeah. So
That's
it's
definitely that.
right. So it gives us that little insight. So if they can't be so close, they can still be connected and be able to pull up the videos in the hallways or wherever it needs to be.
Okay.
Further questions, comments?
Or everything, like an administrator could be remote and dial into the building or go on the internet and look in the building if they were in the middle of the night?
Yes.
There was a-
We'll have
same way with
protocols.
the SROs. Okay.
Right. We'll have protocols in place for that. We can't just leave that wide open for anybody to attack us. So we'll have protocols that they have to follow to get access to the camera system.
Okay, okay. And then current state of affairs, you got 30 seconds. Where are we at with everything we've purchased? Is everything in place now? Teachers have their computers? Everything we bought last year is in place and working with computers?
For
All the laptops we bought this past
for
year?
the teachers,
For teachers, yeah.
yes, they have all been issued to all the teachers. They have really have grown to love them. They have found that the Bluetooth capability for additional speakers in the classroom has been a big improvement for them, and along with the cameras that are built into their laptops have been a big help this last few months that they had them.
Okay, and the 100 we're ordering tonight will be ready, you think, before the start of school?
The Chromebooks for the students. If the vendor's correct, the lead time, yes, we will make it, but we are at the mercy of the manufacturers, and that's why we wanted to get to you in this month, so we have that additional time frame. But as everything is right now, COVID has really put a hamper on a lot of our purchases.
Okay, thank you.
So we're trying our hardest. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And that did cover both of the purchases, the server and encoders at the high school and the student Chromebooks for the junior high. Next up, we have the consideration to approve a revision to Administrative Guideline 4439 regarding holidays, and we might as well combine it with the next one, which is a revision of Administrative Guideline 4438 regarding vacations. So, Mr. Irwin?
Yeah, so these will both be changed to make sure that they match up with the classified handbook, which is later on, but it just more clearly defines how those should be applied within the corporation. The holidays one, there's no change to the paid holidays that we have. It just more so clearly defines who gets those paid holidays based on their classification here at the school. So that just makes it a lot easier for us to apply. The other one, vacation, again, it just more clearly outlines the uses of vacation, when it can be used, and how it would be prorated at the time of which people would leave during any given point within its current year, and how that's paid out. It also shows an update to the changes on the amount of vacation time. So we had made sure that the people that had been here at a certain point, so at 10 plus years, they get the 15 days. It'll change to the 15 years, 15 days. In the 25 plus years, 20 days of vacation would go away, but it would still be honored for those that had met it by June 1st, of which is the date that we typically load vacation days. So it just clearly outlines all of those things so that it can be applied correctly by our central office to make sure that employees are getting what it is that they should be getting through those administrative guidelines.
Motion?
I'll move approval.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments on these policies? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next item is consideration to approve the classified handbook and rates for the 2021 to 2022 school year. Mr. Irwin.
Yeah, so there's a number of things in here. It's quite a big document. I tried to send it to you multiple times to make sure that you look through it. But one of the things that really it outlines that I was really happy that we were able to get done is it outlines all the different things that are going on with employment, whether it's employment rules, whether it's pay dates, whether it's paid leave days, whether it's when vacation days are used. It outlines a lot of things that all employees want to know. And so this handbook is just a lot lengthier and more detailed than what we've previously had. We spent a lot of time looking at just how it compares to other corporations and also the things that we have, and it mimics those administrative guidelines that we have as well, and it just makes sure it clearly outlines to the employee what they have and when they have it and how it applies, where to find information, and it's just better for our employees. So it not only provides protection to the school corporation, but it provides great benefits to our employees, and so that type of balance and information is something that our employees definitely deserve.
Entertain a motion?
I'll move approval.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments on the handbook? I'm sorry?
I want to thank Mr. Irwin and the staff for putting this all together. And I know it's been a tremendous amount of time that he's put forth. And again, thank you today for spending half hour explaining it to me today, so we didn't have to do it tonight. But a lot of work's gone into this, I know that. So I appreciate that. Hopefully it makes it nice and clean.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next we have, don't go away. Next we have the consideration to approve the 2021-2022 student curricular material fees.
Yeah, so I almost forgot I had one more on here. So our curricular material rents and fees, we review those on a yearly basis. I've met with the secretaries and the school principals at every building. We went through what they were this past year, updated those to make sure that they were still relevant with what they were planning for this upcoming year. We went ahead and really, the ones that there's really any change on, we have expanded the amount of grades that we're now one-to-one. So if you guys remember, we got the 600 Chromebooks that allowed us to provide more one-to-one access for our students at Edgewood Intermediate School, and it actually got us one-to-one all the way down through second grade. And so now second through grade 12, we're one-to-one, and so that reflects that change in the curricular fees, and so that's really the grades in grades 2, 3, and 4 where you see the biggest difference. In order to kind of curb that a little bit, we ate up some other ones that were on there that we went ahead and pushed off of the curricular rents and fees to our parents. Just again, trying to be very cognizant of how much they are and making sure that there's a nice balance there. The high school one, it's a long list because those classes change. And so there's quite a few places where things went away for the high school and things came on. But again, in general, most of the grade levels, K through 8, stayed pretty similar, with kindergarten being a little bit less. First grade, for example, is a difference of 15 cents. So we try to keep things as similar as possible, but definitely took a fine-tooth comb to make sure that we're going through those appropriately. So for that, I ask your approval.
I'll move approval.
Moved and second. Any questions, comments? I would like to take a second and promote parents and guardians to go and look into the free and reduced lunch and fees program. I believe that there's probably a lot of parents and guardians who are not taking advantage of that, and it's there for them and to help support them and their students. And so I encourage those that struggle with fees or lunches to look into that program, and you may be surprised at who might qualify. So we do want to encourage that. So there, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item is consideration to approve the revised Neola policy regarding voting. Dr. Sanders.
Yes, so last July, we revised policy 0167.1 as a response to COVID-19. The amendment to this policy allowed us up to 2 school board members to participate and vote electronically in a public board meeting. During the last legislative session, House Bill 1437 was developed to address electronic meetings and signatures. As a result of House Bill 1437 being passed by the state legislators, RBB's policy 0167.1 needed additional revisions. And so we worked with Christine Bartlett to make those revisions. You received a red line version of those changes. And so your vote tonight will change policy 0167.1 to align with Indiana Code 5-14-1.5-3.5. Last month at the May board meeting, this policy was presented to you for first reading. So tonight we're asking for your approval. And if Christine's here tonight to answer any of your questions.
I will move approval.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any questions, comments? I think not only is this a good response, that we were able to do that with COVID, but also with just the changes in technology, the changes in society, this is allowing people to participate, board members to participate who can't physically be present. And so I love everyone being represented at meetings, so this is good news. Okay, anything further? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Our last action item tonight is consideration to approve an amendment to the superintendent's contract. And we had a public hearing on that pursuant to the code, and took public comment. There wasn't any that night, but we had it. The amendment has been published on our website and for everyone to see. Probably the one single largest change is this is a 2-year amendment, which is glad to be able to do that. So we have a motion to approve the amendment to the superintendent's contract.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, any questions or comments? happy we're doing it. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Our next item on the agenda is miscellaneous information. And so, Dr. Sanders, I think you have a presentation for us?
Yes, if you've been driving around Ellisville, you might have seen our food truck. And we have a little video that we're going to show you tonight. It's been on the move. Very good. It's very rewarding to watch a video like that and know a vision turned into a reality, and it's impacting our community. Obviously, as a school corporation, we want to make sure that we're providing the very best and highest quality instruction to our students, but we know that there's so much more that goes into that process, and making sure that our families have healthy meals during the school year, but also during the summer, is so important to that. I had to share that video with you tonight. That's pretty cool. Okay, that's it for miscellaneous.
Thank you very much. And so we'll move into the superintendent's report, Dr. Sanders.
First, I want to thank the board for my contract amendment. It is definitely appreciated, but I have to say that as a board, you do so much more than that on a regular basis. I really feel like we're a partnership. I feel more than any other board that you are active and engaged in our school community, and so I just support I appreciate the support day in and day out that you give me as superintendent and you provide to Matt and the rest of us. So thank you very much for the amendment, but also thank you for all that you do on a regular basis. And I wanted to follow up with Brad's question about the preschool that I failed to mention earlier. Level 3 puts our preschool on a database that when families are applying for assistance to send their children to a preschool, financial assistance, that it puts our preschool on a list of options that they could choose from. So that's how it leads to increase in our enrollment. And I didn't mention that earlier. I wanted to follow up with that. So for my superintendent's report tonight, wanted to give you, first of all, an update on our different construction projects. It is so cool to be in this multi-purpose room right now. And once again, as I mentioned earlier about the food truck seeing vision turn into reality, you know, I've sat in on the number of meetings with Mr. Sieglin and his staff, and as we kind of dreamed about what we could do with this facility in terms of providing a place for our students initially, it was all about focusing on providing a place for our choirs and bands and show choirs at the junior high level to be able to do performances here at their own school rather than having to go down to the high school. And so to see these auditorium seats here is just really an awesome thing to see. And of course, we wanted to make sure that we maximized the use of this facility. So we have obviously a place for the students to play basketball, volleyball, and then the 2 rooms next to the multi-purpose room are our clean labs and our dirty labs for our STEAM projects and our project-based learning projects. So I've been looking forward to this several months, to be able to come in and have this board meeting here tonight, to be able to show off this facility. We plan on in August having the students come and do a Mustang moment. So yes, we're going to bring back the Mustang moment in August, and our junior high students will be our first Mustang moment for the 2021-22 school year. This project here, where we're sitting right now, is phase 1 of the renovation. Phase 2 is going on right now with expanding the cafeteria, which means we had to do some renovations in the classroom, and also we're adding some outdoor dining for the students. So all that project, that phase of the project is going on right now and is due to be done by August 1st. We meet every 2 weeks for the junior high project. A couple other projects I'd like to update. In the Innovative Learning Center, we're looking for hopefully that'll be done in mid-October. Right now they're working on really getting set up for the project. They have a demolition permit that allows them to start taking things down, and their permit to add should be here probably next week. So the Innovative Learning Center, we have those progress meetings every other week. So the new EECC preschool, we've had to push that project back. It was due to be done before the school year, but we've had an issue with getting materials and supplies, specifically steel, and so that delayed the project somewhat. The steel is supposed to be delivered this week and then erected this week, weather pending. We're meeting every week on the preschool right now to make sure that we're moving that project on just as quickly as possible. We had some other delays that we're working on right now with that project in terms of roofing insulation materials. And so we're working on an alternative plan for that. And so we hope to get that addressed right now. When we make these changes like that, especially like with the roofing material, you have to go through and make sure that, like the fire department, we want to make sure the fire department would be in agreement to the changes to the roofing materials. All that unfortunately puts a delay into the project, but Mrs. Whitaker at the primary school and Mr. Wooden at the preschool have been so great in looking at alternatives for this first semester to adapt to the delay. And I appreciate their efforts in doing so. The new administration building, the support services building, which is transportation and maintenance, and also the transportation lot, that is estimated to be finished Well, the building itself, the new administration building and the support services building is due to be finished around December. The transportation lot will be done before the start of the school year. And that's actually what they're working on right now. So you might have seen the school buses parked over here. That's to open up that space, and that's where really it's good to look out the window and see some progress. The pool project is moving right along, due to be finished, I think mid-August for that project. Right now, just some of the things that they've been working on is the bulkhead that goes across the top part of the pool has been redone and new drywall and painted. The whole pool has been, well, the lower part up to a certain level has been repainted. The locker rooms have been renovated, and so they are looking at the shower walls, and they are rebuilding those shower walls and new tile along the pool. We meet every 2 weeks on the pool project. And then the HVAC projects, we have the air handlers. The air handler in the gymnasium is being moved from the top of the roof inside the gymnasium to the top. And we have a new air handler being installed in the academic area of the classrooms, and then a new air handler over the auditorium. And then we had a new chiller installed at the primary school. We meet every 2 weeks on the HVAC project. So every Tuesday morning, probably from about 8 to noon, if you want to find Matt and I, we're in a construction project meeting. But in the end, I keep thinking in the end, we're going to be looking at really nice facilities like we have here at the junior high. The second thing I'd like to talk about is our safety measures for the 2021-22 school year. We are putting the details to our plan that in July board meeting I'll be asking you to approve. But I wanted to get the word out on some of the major aspects of our plan and maybe some of the changes that will be in place that were different from this past school year. One of the things that is the same is that we will have the opportunity to provide parents with option. As you already know, we provided an application process for parents who were interested in the all-virtual school option, and so we'll offer the in-person and the all-virtual school option to parents. Enrollment is really down. We ended the school year with 388 students in our all-virtual school, and we're probably looking approximately around 50 for the next school year. So we're looking for a majority of those students coming back. So the big issue that if you've looked, paid attention to the news and the word around the community and maybe social media is what are we going to do about masks? And I have to say, last school year, I was really worried about masks going into the school year. In fact, the night before the first day of school, I was up all night just worrying specifically about masks. But I got to tell you, it really wasn't an issue. Yes, we were all tired of wearing masks, but from preschool through high school, students and staff were very good about being safe and wearing those masks. However, for the 2021-22 school year, I intend to put in our plan to make masks optional. So students and staff will not be required to wear masks for the next school year. Now, the guidelines that we received from the Indiana Department of Health does recommend masks for those who are not vaccinated, but we are not going to go around and identify who's been vaccinated and who hasn't been vaccinated. We are simply going to make it an option for students and staff. That is if you guys approve that in July. Masks are still, however, going to be, unless something changes, required on school buses. The CDC and the Indiana Department of Health is still requiring masks to be worn on school buses. If that changes, we'll adapt accordingly. You know, it's very important to continue social distancing, but we want to be able to balance social distancing with implementing collaborative-based instructional strategies. Collaborative-based instructional strategies are so important to helping our students learn. And so we want to, as the school year starts, we will still have our students sitting at least 3 feet apart facing forward. But we want to encourage our principals and teachers to find ways to build collaboration and give students an opportunity for collaboration. And as the situation gets better and better, we'll be more relaxed and feel better about providing those times for students to work together and yet stay safe. We'll need to continue with the contact tracing protocols. The guidelines say that vaccinated students will not be required to quarantine, but those who are not vaccinated will still be required to go through a quarantine period of 7 or 10 days. That is something that maybe as the school year goes along again, we will be able to monitor. I think starting the school year without masks is a good first step, and we'll see where it goes after that. So the next steps, what I would like to do is send an email to our parents, just giving them a general overview, basically just highlighting what I just said, put that in an email to let parents know ahead of time, this is what we're thinking, and then between now and the July board meeting, put all these details on paper, and then ask you as a board to approve that at the July 19th board meeting. As we've done all last year, I think we did a very good job, we just need to be prepared to adjust our plans according to the situation and according to state and local guidelines. So we'll continue to monitor that and as we move forward. And one other item is the governor has put in his executive order that starting July 1st, as a board, you can make those decisions. But we also know that we all agree that we want to make those decisions according to the guidelines we receive from our health experts. So any questions on construction projects or the safety measures?
I'm just glad we're finally moving in that direction.
Right.
I think it'll be good for, we had such an issue with mental health, and it was everywhere, it wasn't just our corporation. This is going to be good for our students and the faculty. So I'm glad we're moving in that direction.
I'm glad to hear that progress is being made on the preschool addition. It's been frustrating looking at no progress for the last several weeks, and I know it was just a lack of materials, but man, so that's good to hear.
Thank you very much. Next, we have RBEA comments. So, Mr. Yules.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for giving me this time. First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Sanders, Matt Irwin, and the board for approving the stipend funds for teachers and our certified workers and everyone involved in that. We all know it was a load this last year, and so we appreciate that token without a doubt. Also, in 27 years, I've had a lot of administrators at the high school and have had good relations with many of them. But at the same time, I'd like to congratulate Alicia Dirk on her position there, and timely and appropriate, I think, to have a female administrator there. I think that will bode well as well. It's good to continue working with Dr. Sanders. We've had a good relationship. His door is always open. I appreciate that. So maybe I'll get out of this role at some point, but still good to have you aboard. And finally, I'm going to put on my teacher hat real quick since I had the mic. Dr. Sanders had mentioned the PLC contract coming up with Solution Tree, and obviously as a teacher, I think Mr. Kerr had mentioned he was on one of those earlier trips way back in Arizona. I want to say almost pushing 10 years ago. I'm going to kind of nutshell it a little bit, but I'm a big proponent of it. I'm just speaking from my high school math perspective, so I'm only one perspective, but I like the idea of it. In a nutshell, to me, it just kind of hones in teachers on focusing on getting together, collaborating, making sure we're teaching what we're supposed to teach, keeping us from being just a silo, an independent person on teaching what we think we want to teach. And I know it's not easy. I'm sure Mrs. Whitaker can attest. When you have elementary grade levels of 7, 8, 9 teachers, the more you have, the harder it is to get consensus and compromise. But at the end of the day, the whole purpose of it is to, and even at the high school, we have our own independent thoughts in different departments. I still like the idea of it, so I'm all in favor of it. It is a work in progress, but I think it is a good idea to get back to focusing on it because we have had it going for a while. And like somebody mentioned, some things get a bigger focus because of things going on, and sometimes you lose the steam on it, but I think it's a great idea in theory, so I'm looking forward to it, and I even mentioned that to Mr. Ackerman and others, so we'll see how it goes, and that's all I got for this evening. We'll see you in July.
Thank you very much. For board member comments, we'll start with Mr. Tucker.
I wanted to congratulate the Crane sisters at the state finals and the boys track team, the regional participants, along with the baseball team this spring. And also, I know Mr. Yields hit a sweet spot when he made a comment there about his 27 years in the school corporation, and we lost a former administrator last week. Mr. Fletcher passed away, and he was the athletic director when I came here years ago, and he did a great job for the school corporation, and he will be missed. And I think our community needs to wrap their arms around Ms. Fletcher's as she comes back to the new school year. So again, congrats to all on this evening, and congrats to Dr. Sanders for the 2-year extension, and hopefully we'll continue to move forward.
Mr. DeMoss.
Just to echo what Brad said about the passing of Roland Fletcher, that it was a loss. I always enjoyed my interactions with him. He was always energetic and professional, and I thought he just handled himself so well in that position. Graduation was a delight, and I have to give a shout out to Ms. Sigmund, who spoke to us this evening. Her salutatorian address was brave and well structured and very thoughtful and very mature, and I just thought it was terrific. And then also to piggyback on what Brad was saying about the Crane sisters, and congratulations to Annalisa. She got a regional award from the Track and Field Coaches Association, and well earned, and what a career she had. But as I understand it, there's another Crane sister in this building yet to come. So anyway, that's all I have.
Mr. Jacob.
I agree with everything that's been stated so far. I'd like to thank Savannah for coming up and talking to us about the dress code that she's very passionate about. Looking forward to seeing how that works out for us at the high school. Thank you to everyone again for the donations. That's just amazing. Everything that we get into our corporation is just such a benefit to our students, and very appreciative of that. thank you, Matt and Jerry, for everything that you guys work so hard every single day for us, keeping us moving forward. Really appreciate all the work you guys do. And I think that's it for me. Thank you.
Mr. Durnall.
Mr. President, Angie stole all my verbiage right now. I want to say ditto to that. Thank you so much, Jerry and Matt. You do a wonderful job. Thank you for the staff. I want to welcome Mrs. Dirk to a wonderful administrative staff. These people are just great to work with, just wonderful. I too want to mention Roland Fletcher. I was his assigned administrative assistant on Fridays and Saturday night home games for 11 years. I helped him set up chairs, take down chairs, and we just had a wonderful time. And of course, Susan's a wonderful person too, but Roland was such a gentleman, and it's always such fun to be around. So I want to wish Susan well through this hard time. But again, I just want to thank this school system. I'm so proud of the school system. Look at this room. Fantastic, is it not? So we're just continue to march all over the stadium, or the system here to upgrade things. So thank you very much.
Well, I want to thank you all for coming tonight and those watching on CATS. Yes, Savannah Sieglin's salutatorian speech was amazing at graduation, and it was wonderful to be able to have graduation and to have it in person and to have as many family and friends there as we were. It was just wonderful to be able to watch those students cross that stage and receive their diploma. So we really appreciate all the hard work that went into putting that together, and took a lot of work to get that worked out with the Monroe County Health Department and make sure all the guidelines were followed. So appreciate all that hard work. I think it was a very special time for all those graduates. The donations as well that was mentioned, and I saw Mary Beth Gallagher on there, and longtime teacher that has put a lot into the school system and supporting the Ready Schools initiative, and the coffee shop was awesome to see her do that. Yes, I think it was 10 years or more ago that we did the PLC's trip to Phoenix. And again, I do know that some schools do use them pretty heavily as well, but it's going to be great to get that going. And lastly, I just want to welcome Dr. Sanders for a 2-year increase in amendment to his contract, and we enjoy having you here. And as Mr. Durnall said, just can't be any more proud of this school system than we are right now. Things are going very well. We're doing a lot of really good things with our facilities, with our curriculum, with our personnel, and doing it all for our students. So there is supposed to be a work session at 7:30 in 2 minutes in the media center. That will likely start a few minutes late. So with that, this meeting's adjourned. Have a wonderful night.